welcome back to Music with Monali. I am Monali. This is my channel. And welcome to another edition of How'd They Get That Name? How'd they get their name? Why name? Well, whatever. In other words, it is how bands, why they named them that name. There might not be a title to this series except for, whatever comes out of my mouth at the time. Okay. I put it on Patreon. My Patreons voted for me to research Alice in Chains, which is one of my all-time favorite bands, and why they're called Alice in Chains. What? So there's a lot of rumors that circle about. But if you don't know who Layne Staley is because you are only a newer Alice in Chains fan, which I don't even know if the new band, when they got the new singer, if they're even making stuff anymore. I need to look it up. But this is Layne Staley. And he was very good looking and also very, very addicted to the drugs. And so he ended up overdosing. And he had that iconic voice, that grunge voice. Their first EP, Facelift, actually came out before Nirvana's. And so that whole grunge sound really kind of broke up the hair metal sound of the 80s, the hair bands, the ballads, things like that. And so I remember watching an MTV special about grunge. It might have been about Nirvana specifically, but it was a while ago. Me and my brothers were watching it, and I believe it was Poison, the singer from Poison, I believe, who came on and said he was watching something on MTV as well, and he saw Nirvana, and he heard them singing, and he said he thought to himself, we're done, that's it. And he was right, because when grunge came about and that whole new genre of music, that 80s sound just kind of went by the wayside, at least when it came to rock and hair bands. Because this new sound, it just took over the 90s. All of it did. That started the flannel shirts and the baggy jeans and the Doc Martens and just all this style that came about that I love so much from the 90s. The short shorts with the long flannel shirts. Just, loved it. Anyway, so Alice in Chains. So the story behind Alice in Chains is there's a couple. So some people said that it was based off of a lost episode of The Brady Bunch because Alice is a main character and they thought about her in bondage. But really the most prevalent story, the most well-circled story, and the one that I guess is widely accepted is that Johnny Bacalus, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, who was a bassist of Sleaze, which is one of the bands that Layne Staley sang for before Alice in Chains, and Russ Klatt, who was the lead vocalist of the Slaughterhouse-Five. They were at a party in northern Seattle, which, Seattle, right? That's where all these bands are starting. And they were fascinated with these different concepts of backstage passes and things like that, and they were tossing names such as Sleaze, the Welcome to Wonderland tour, which turned into this discussion where they're talking about Alice in Wonderland. And one of them popped out with the name Alice in Chains, referring to the children's book character in Bondage. But their parents were unhappy with that name, namely Layne Staley's mom, Nancy McCollum, who was very against it. But Layne Staley actually said in an interview that the name came about when they were talking about coming up with a metal band that dressed in drag and then sang hard rock metal music. So they changed it to Alice in apostrophe, the letter in apostrophe, Chains with a Z, just kind of giving it that conjunctional kind of vibe. And but after the Alice in apostrophe Chains Z band broke up, Layne Staley took that concept, and when he formed the other band, he just went ahead and went with Alice in Chains. So Layne Staley, a lot of people think Layne Staley passed away in the 90s or overdosed in the 90s, but that's actually not true. He actually OD'd in 2002. And it was actually April 5th of 2002. He was 34 years old, and he died in Seattle. And his voice, if you have not heard his voice, you need to. Because, just listen to this.
Well, here come the roosters.
It's absolutely amazing. Nobody sounds like him. And if you don't know about Alice in Chains, they're unplugged on MTV. I recommend you look it up now and just watch the whole thing. It's mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. It's also mind-blowing that he was that high. I mean, I know Kurt Cobain and a lot of other guys, Scott Weiland, were also very, very high when they were singing. But I just remember being in a band and I had drank a little bit too much wine. And the first song, I forgot the words. I guess that's just more proof why I should not have been any kind of famous musician. Anyway, but it also makes you think, if they got clean, would we have the amazing music from them? That tortured sound that's so good, that changed so many people's lives, that changed the game. Would we have that? Sacrificial lambs, maybe. I don't know. Tell me what you think. What did you know about Alice in Chains? Do you like Alice in Chains? What's your favorite Alice in Chains song? Mine is Dim Bones. Listen to it. Music of Monterey. Cheers.